This is the Sports Porch, Black and Gold, with your hosts, the technical director, the Grand Schwabini, and Hockey Jesus. Come on, Pittsburgh. Let's show a little Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates love. The Sports Porch Black and Gold starts now. Oh, yeah. What a classic. What a classic. Welcome to the Sports Porch Black and Gold. We are today on Facebook, YouTube, and X. So either one of those places, if you're watching, hit the follow or subscribe button, click notifications. We're live right now, post-game after this. What I said was starting to become a classic Baltimore Steelers game. And turns out it was. But they pulled out a victory 27-22, put up some big boy stats as far as Aaron Rodgers, 284 yards passing. DK had his breakout game, 7 receptions for 148 yards. You know, it's funny. He had all that yardage and he didn't get a touchdown, but, we won the game anyway. So got him into the game. The defense coming up with that sack at the last. Was that the only sack of the game? I think that was the first sack of the game. And it's the
sighting.
Say again?
Highsmith sighting.
Yes, Highsmith sighting. Schwaber, do you have a microphone? What's going on?
I broke my stuff, so I just got to go regular here.
You're gonna have to get okay. Anyway, so thanks for being here. Thanks for watching us. Great victory. I'll give you my thoughts later. I'm gonna let HJ, who's basically been up for 2 straight days after that night we had at Kelly's Bar. HJ is down below me. The Grand Schwabini is over there, and I'm your TD, your technical director. HJ, how do you feel about this victory? And leave us your comments. Tell us what you think. I'm going to ask a question after you guys give me your thoughts here, and hope to elicit a big response. Take it away, HJ. How'd you feel about that victory?
It's always great to beat the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
Right.
There's not a greater feeling when you beat your rival like that in a must-win game. Not for both teams, really, but more for the Steelers. The Steelers had much more to lose. It's not over. It's not over, but this puts us in the catbird seat. The number is 2. We need 2 more wins, and we win the AFC North. That's all we need to do now is just secure 2 more wins. We play Miami and Cleveland and Baltimore. We only need to win 2 of those. So it's a great win for the Steelers. I mean, I have to say, I was hoping that the defense would come out and just prove that what happened in the playoff game last year was, just false, just not the way this. It's like you said, it's a classic. It's a classic Tomlin rebound game. Everybody's saying get rid of Tomlin. We were saying it, and everybody in the whole media is saying it. I think when it happens like that, for some reason, Tomlin finds his next gear and just loves to prove everybody wrong, and he absolutely did that today. I thought the offense could have been a little bit better in the second half, but it did what it had to do, and that's all that really matters when you need a big win to pull out a clutch win like that. Baltimore is not the Baltimore team that we really know. Let's face it, this Baltimore team is not great. There's nothing really great about this Baltimore team, and I think that helped us secure the win. What do you say, Mark? What do you say?
I don't mean to be negative because, it's a win. It's a big win against a rival. But the first thought that came to my mind after this win was they did it again. 9-8, 10-7, blowout in the first round. I could be wrong. Yeah. Hopefully I'm wrong. But that was the first thought that came to my mind was that, look, Steelers, they played a really good game today. So give them credit for that, especially with the way they had been playing, the previous couple weeks. But at the same time, I did sort of feel like kind of like what you said, Baltimore is not as good as people have thought that they were. And I feel like, a slightly better team in the Steelers beat a below 500 team.
Yeah, that's the problem right now. That's really the problem. And the problem is what I saw, for those who are, black and gold, thick and through, Steelers always going to win, make the playoffs, that really super die hard. There was some good in this game. Rodgers, good game. His rating was over 100. Gainwell, had the touchdown. Metcalf with his 7 for 148. It looked like the parts of the offense were ready. What it appeared to me is that, and I was thinking this through the game, it seemed to me that maybe Aaron Rodgers during the week, when they interviewed him and he said, people got to be in meetings, they got to run better routes. It starts with me. He kind of said, I haven't been playing the best either, but and then they had those meetings, and maybe Rodgers in the coach's room, in the coach's meeting, said, hey, look, what in the hell are we doing? We got this guy in DK Metcalf.
Right.
Let's use him. Let's use him. We're not taking advantage. Okay. So it looked like, they're going to start throwing the ball. Now, everybody poo-pooed the Adam Thielen move, the Valdez-Scantling, move. And, I was one of those who kind of did as well. But then I started to think about it, like, Metcalf is getting double teamed constantly. And Aaron Rodgers actually made that comment this past week when they interviewed him. And that's what we've been talking about. And I've been singing since they got DK Metcalf and let go of George Pickens. And this ain't the George Pickens show. But they don't have a true number 2. And neither one of these guys is a true number 2 either. But they are veterans. And one of them has played with him. So now the defense has to be worried about the fact that there's a chemistry and an understanding of an offense. So DK was able to get open more, even though Scantling and Thielen really didn't contribute that much. I think Thielen had 1 catch, for 4 yards. But at the same time, I thought, oh, okay, we're seeing this. But what we didn't see was any real running game at all. And what we didn't see was Pat Freiermuth being utilized more. And so it's kind of like, how many steps do you have to take before you have a full offense here? So let's do this 2 games in a row. And I'm going to be back on the positive bandwagon. And that's where I come down on the offense. Thanks everybody for being here. This is the Sports Black and Gold. We're live, Steelers postgame show, Steelers Ravens. Hey, if you're on YouTube and you haven't done this already, click that subscribe button, hit notifications. You'll know when we're live, which is after every Steelers game. And most importantly, after or Monday nights at 7 p.m. I don't know. I lost my train of thought there for a second. Feel the Steel is back in the house. Chris Chata, we'll get to your comments. Feel the Steel. Thanks. He did call us psychos, but
he's right there.
Yeah.
I think that's with love.
I think it's with love as well. I mean, hardly we've known you, yet you know us so well. I'm pretending that's a Shakespeare quote, but I just made that up. I swear to God. What is the deal with needing 9 yards for a first down to seal the game? And they run a toss to Warren for absolutely nothing, forcing a 3rd and long. Not great play calling. I'll take a quick stab at it, and then I'll let HJ go crazy. That's Tomlin being conservative.
Well, here's the thing that I always wonder about. Now, look, I'm not gonna complain about the offense terribly, because I think I loved the first play bomb to Metcalf. That was different. We haven't seen that. Mm-hmm. And I love the use of Metcalf. Actually, I would have liked to have seen him used a little more in the second half. Yeah. But sometimes I'm just confused. Like, now look, I like Kenny Gainwell. I think he's a good player. But whatever it was, like, first and goal to go from the 8, and you run 3 straight plays to Kenny Gainwell. I mean, that's odd to me. You know, the third down, we get a first down, we win the game. We throw to Valdez Scantling, who I don't know if he was on the field during the game. If not, that was his first play for the year. Why are we throwing it to him?
Yeah.
Why not Metcalf? Yeah. He's in the flow of the game with 7 catches for 146 yards. You know what I mean? Like, some of the plays just don't make any sense to me. But I will at least say that I liked the fact that, you know, generally speaking, they were more aggressive throwing the ball, and I liked that. You know, so that's my take on that.
Yeah, my only difference with what you guys are saying is you have to make them take their timeouts. That's thing one, right?
Yeah, which they did do. That was I like that strategy.
So you got to run. I mean, you have to do that. That's just the way it's going to go. I mean, if you're going to throw the ball on first down, you got to throw that pass out to Kenny Gainwell or Warren or, you know, the tight end, so that you make sure it's a catch, because you want to keep the clock running. So they did that right. But I agree with you. When it was third down and too long, you still have to take a chance. That doesn't mean you throw it across the middle for 15 yards so that it might get picked off. But what you might do is throw it down the field on the sidelines so that either he catches it or it goes out of bounds. And maybe you get a pass interference penalty and the game's over. You know, I think that's what the Steelers have always lacked with forever, really, when it comes down to it. That killer instinct, that instinct that says our offense is better than your defense. Instead, what do they say? Our defense will stop your offense instead. Now, there's no way they could have known that the Ravens were going to get a holding penalty on the punt, and then on the very first play on first down, get another holding penalty. So suddenly they're not on the 30, they're not on the 42-yard line. They're on the 25-yard line, for God's sakes. So that made a big difference. And the one great thing about this win, so that's what I'll say about that, the play calling on that. But the best thing about this win, and we have to absolutely talk about this, is the way the Steelers won. The Ravens are going to get the cry about this game because of two things. One, the penalty on the center, you know, the roughing the center penalty, as I call it, you know, where they get the first down on the very next play. Kenny Gainwell goes in for a rushing touchdown. And then on what looked like perhaps the game-winning touchdown catch, Isaiah Likely dropping it right out. Where is it? Right out of the textbook of our buddy Jesse James. We've been through this. So forget about it, Baltimore, about whining, because this happened to us against the Patriots in a much bigger game than this game, in a much bigger game than this game. And we know how that feels. Yeah. So did he catch the ball? Absolutely. Did he catch the ball? Did he did he complete the catch? I guess he didn't. And that's always that's the thing, Baltimore fans, that you're going to have to struggle with for a while now. And do yourself a favor. Try and get over it, because I haven't gotten over that catch by Jesse James. And that had to have been at least 12 years ago. So that's what's great. Now we get to project some of our anger to Baltimore, and now they can take that and do with it whatever you want. But guess what? You lost the game.
Don't forget about the interception, not interception as well.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That was Aaron Rodgers' best completion of the game. One catch for Aaron Rodgers for -9 yards. Probably saved the game. Probably saved the game. You know, forget DK Metcalf's 7 for 148 and a touchdown.
Right.
Forget that.
He didn't get a TD. He didn't get a TD.
That catch to himself was the best play Aaron Rodgers did all game.
Yeah. I think it's amazing to have that turnaround on those plays. I mean, and how happy and joyous that that hockey Jesus is that Baltimore Ravens fans now have to go back. I mean, look, the only thing that would have made it better is if it was a playoff game, division championship, something like that.
Yeah, if it was the last game of the year,
right,
and we had to win to make the playoffs, and now we're in the playoffs. We still aren't in the we're in the playoffs now, but we're not guaranteed to be in
still
the playoffs
4 more games.
3 more games from now. Yeah.
And I think like I was saying, you got to show this to me 2 weeks in a row, though. I mean, I still feel like the offense is not complete, and I think it's still got a long way to go. But I really feel like there is an influence of Aaron Rodgers and his will. And I got to say that I can't think of any other quarterback, given the selection that was available to the Steelers at the time, that would have taken this team even to where it is now, which is 7-6. I mean, imagine had they signed Justin Fields. Imagine had, for some strange reason, Russell Wilson stuck around this joint. I mean, I don't see anything like this happening, but that doesn't matter. How about the defense? Do you get the feeling, and I got the feeling that, and we were talking about this during the game, in the beginning, Lamar and they really played up the fact that he's playing injured. He's not the same old Lamar. And we did see that in a way, but as the game went on, I said, wait until halftime. I think they're feeling out the Steelers defense to see how overcommitted they're going to be to this. And maybe Lamar has a little bit in the tank here. He's, another week removed from being injured. And it looked like he did. His timing on his throws was still off a little bit. He certainly didn't have the speed he had, but he did get a rushing touchdown, a nice one. And, the D to me looked like it played well enough to win. And because Lamar was injured and they really couldn't unleash him even after the second half adjustments, they were able to keep Derrick Henry pretty well contained, 94 yards rushing. Look, you didn't shut him down, but he didn't hurt you. He didn't score any touchdowns. So is that more of a factor of now it's more of a one-dimensional offense, or did the D step up? Like I saw Joey Porter did what Joey Porter does, man. He has some great plays in a game, and then he has some, head-scratching interference calls. And you could call him kind of the hero of the game, like HJ did after he knocked that pass out of Likely's hands.
That was Mark, actually.
That was you? Okay, I read that text wrong. Sorry about that, Grant Schwabini. But I mean, again, this I want to call this the classic Tomlin rebound game. But because of how, lackluster they've been this year for most of the year, it is the classic Tomlin rebound game. But they usually end up in a kind of a stretch. Can they sustain this? I mean, what do we got? What do we got next week? It's not Detroit, is it? It's either Cleveland or let me see. I don't want to go into the future too far here, but there's not a whole lot of football left. Next week, Dolphins. That's right. Dolphins come into town. Is that a Monday night, right? Dolphins,
yeah, Monday night game. Monday night game. Yeah.
Yeah, that game actually scares me, and we could talk about that game tomorrow. But for me, it has to be a sustainable thing. They need to go out, and they don't have to beat the shit out of Miami. They just have to win convincingly. Even if it's a 7-point game or a 3-point game, it's got to be the offense moved the ball and they scored. The defense made the stops and held that team to under 100 yards rushing, and Tua couldn't throw any big touchdown passes. I mean, because Miami is, for all intents and purposes, a bad team. So if they can do that, then I think you got something cooking, because Aaron Rodgers was cooking today. He actually looked pretty spry on the field, except for that little errant little pass catch thing that I missed part of because I was setting up the show. But what do you guys say about that?
Well, you can't say that the defense had a great game. They gave up 217 yards rushing again, over 200 yards rushing again.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Mhm.
94 to Henry, 76 to the other jabroni, 47.
Oh, yeah. He had that big play.
47-ish to Lamar. Couple from some other guys.
Right.
So, yeah. So they did. They gave up over 200 yards rushing again. Anytime you give up over 200 yards rushing, you can't say that your defense had a great game. The only thing you can say is, they got that interception early, which helped keep the momentum going early, right? That was helpful. They actually had 2 sacks, Mark. Brandon Nichols had a sack earlier.
Oh, that's right.
But so they didn't really have a lot of splash plays on defense. So, I mean, the one thing you can say, it was the first time they didn't have splash plays on defense and they still won the game. So that's a little bit different with this team. This team usually relies on some kind of splash to do it. It seemed like the splashes were coming from the offense with the over 20-yard passes that happened, five times today, something like that. So I can't say that the defense is back. I can say that they did enough today. And once again, this Baltimore team is just not good enough. If they can do it next week and against Miami, who has A-Chain and Tua, who's actually having a pretty good year, and Waddle, who's having an excellent year, if they can stop one of those 3 guys, okay, well, then I say the defense is back. And it'll be really interesting because it's a Monday night. It's in Pittsburgh. And if they lose that game after winning this game, I mean, we're all going to be schizophrenic, a week from Tuesday because we're just not going to know what to say. We have it all laid out for us. 2 more wins. That's all we need to win. I said 2 out of 3. It's really 2 out of 4. You're right. I forgot about the Detroit game, which I wrote off already because I figured they're going to get absolutely pummeled by Detroit. But they only have to win next week at home Monday night against Miami, so that you don't see James Harrison out there screaming his lungs out about how soft the Steelers are on Monday night, because he will absolutely be back screaming his lungs out. And you know what? I'll be right there beside him.
I mean, I think it's crazy how all these NFL players are getting their podcasts. I mean, and we've been doing it for 7-8 years now. I mean, this is where you come. This is where you come, okay? You don't need to hear Debo screaming his head off. That's no fun. You come here so you can exercise your opinion and nobody's going to scream at you. I mean, except maybe Steve. He likes to scream once in a while. He kind of gets carried away. But then he says a prayer and everything is fine. Here's an interesting thing. Chris Chada. Ironically, do you think Harbaugh and Tomlin are in similar situations? If Jackson regresses with injuries and all, and Baltimore keeps losing, could Harbaugh's seat be as hot as Tomlin's? Listen, Harbaugh's seat actually is as hot as Tomlin's. Now, we're in a bubble here in Pittsburgh. They're in a bubble there in Baltimore. Some would say it's a grayer bubble. I don't know. But, I listened to a Baltimore sports reporter talk about that situation there. And, it's really easy to sum it up this way, almost the exact same situation.
It is pretty similar.
Yeah. And the fans there are very frustrated. They think that Harbaugh plays old school football. Gee, I think we just watched a game full of old school football. And I'll tell you, one side note here, I was finally entertained by a Steelers game this year. I mean, I'm serious. If I sit back, the first play from scrimmage is a bomb to Eric Metcalf, and all I can think, or to Eric Metcalf. Gee, I'm going back there a little way. I know. DK Metcalf, is Eric Metcalf his dad?
No. No.
Are they related? Okay. Anyway, that reminded me, a former and recovering Redskins fan, that now Steelers fan, that reminded me of the good old days when Joe Gibbs would come out and try to pull stuff like that. I mean, that's called going for the jugular on play number 1.
Right.
You know, and that was a great call. Now you probably can't do it next week, but it's in the arsenal now, and now they know they got to respect it. So that's where the issue comes in. Are you going to take, because you definitely made some changes to your offensive game plan, not just because you were playing the Ravens, but because the whole world was calling for it, even if not your players themselves. Can you do that next week? Can you add a couple little twists? Maybe it's familiarity. I don't know. But that's really what we got to do. But yeah, Harbaugh, same situation. They're starting to grow sour of him because they feel like anybody with a quarterback like Lamar should have won at least one Super Bowl right now. And I can't disagree with that. 20-4 in December, setting records, multiple.
But maybe he's just not a winner.
Dude,
there is something to say about that.
20-4 in December is a winner. I mean, but I get you're saying
there's a difference between regular season wins and postseason wins.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is.
I mean, that's your Dak Prescott right there.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, you're right. But who's better, Dak or Lamar?
Well, I would say Lamar is, but
yeah,
neither one of them have gotten their team over the top.
No, they haven't. Let's get a couple of the comments in here. Derby 501st2. Is that a Derpy 501st2? Is that a military reference? Drop us a comment. It might be. If so, thank you for your service in advance. So, Steelers Nation, you all going to be spoiled crybabies wanting Tomlin out of town. So, hey, listen,
yeah.
The answer is, here's what happens in Steelers Nation, or as we like to say, Stars Nation. Here's what happens. Tomorrow is Monday, and on Monday morning, sports radio here will be awash of people who say Tomlin still needs to go, and then another group of people who say, see, we told you he was a great coach. See, I mean, we go through this when he loses, it's one way. When he wins, it's another way. But this time could be a little different, don't you think? I mean, we'll wait to see tomorrow, and we'll comment on tomorrow's show. But
I think people are going to say what you're saying, which is,
right.
Let's see it again.
Right.
I did hear one interesting new kind of Tomlin-ish type stat. Do you know that there's, in the history of the NFL, there's only one other coach that has been with their team for 8 seasons without a playoff win? Do you know who that person is?
In all of the NFL?
All of the NFL. It's only one other person has been allowed to be with their team for 8 consecutive seasons without a playoff win.
Active?
Not active.
No.
Not active.
Dick Vermeil. I don't know.
Andy Reid.
Don Shula.
Oh, Don Shula.
Don Shula. That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, that would have had to be at the end of his career.
Well, yeah, that's kind of crazy, though, isn't it? There's only 2 people in this position in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're two in the top 5 of wins all time, probably. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where Tomlin is, but he's got to be up there.
The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was somebody wrote an article where they kind of like debuffed or demythed the Steelers never fire coaches, because obviously they haven't for a long time. But like prior to that, they fired like 4 coaches within 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you already know that anything before 1970 doesn't count as the real NFL.
There you go.
We have this debate all the time. Yeah, it's actually an unspoken debate.
But to talk about Derpy's concept there of us being crying, whining babies, absolutely true. That is true. But we have a lot of ammunition behind being crying, whiny babies because of that reason. I mean, we have a quote Hall of Fame coach who can't even win playoff games. I mean, if your team couldn't win a playoff game in the last 8 seasons that isn't named New York Jets, you would be in the same position. You would be saying the same things. Like, why do we still have this coach? Why do we still have this coach? So, yeah, we might be spoiled because, Tomlin won early and often and, made a lot of Super Bowls early. And, say what you want about them being Cowher's team. Go ahead. I don't care. We've had this conversation. But we also have said that being said, all the boo birds that were out, booing Renegade and saying fire Tomlin would not be doing that if the Steelers win this week and Miami comes in on Monday night. You will not be hearing fire Tomlin chants as they come out of the tunnel. And that's the way it is in the NFL. 1 week you're the hero, 1 week you want to be out in the cold looking for a job. So,
but if they're
the way it is.
If they're down 24-3 in the third, you will hear fire Tomlin.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. It's like I thought to myself, when did
if they.
It's all you. It's all you, HJ. It's all you, HJ.
Yeah, or that's okay. It's the delay that's killing me. No,
okay.
if the Steelers were winning 21-7 at halftime, and then suddenly it's 28-21 Miami with 6 minutes left, and they play Renegade, and Miami has the ball.
Yeah,
there might be a different feel about that in that situation. That's the way it is in the NFL. I'm sorry if we sound like crying whiny babies. With all our Lombardis. That's right, Pat. We have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But the reality is, that's the way it works, people.
Listen, we've been doing this show for a long time, for over 7 years, and 7 years ago, when people were calling for Tomlin to be fired, because they've been a small, it was smaller back then, but there's always been a contingent of people since a couple years went by and they didn't, either go to the championship game or go to the Super Bowl again. There was always a small contingent of people saying, Tomlin needs to go, his time's up, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And now here we are 19 years later. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you're absolutely right, HJ. 1 week you're the hero, the next week you're the GOAT. It still doesn't change the fact that message, I think, is kind of stale. And the national media flip-flops on it. And, there was all kinds of Tomlin love in this game. Tony Romo, I think, at least for this game, was in love with Mike Tomlin. So, that's the way it works. I want to get to this comment here from Derpy. Derpy, are you a Ravens fan? I mean, you can hit the subscribe button anyway, and then click notifications and hop on here and argue with us whenever you want. We love that. You know what? I'm tired of more than Tomlin haters, the glazing over. I think he's saying he's tired more of glazing over Lamar and saying that he isn't clutching big games, and it shows. And he's tired of he gets glazed from the NFL and the analysts and all that kind of stuff. He's an MVP of the league.
That's what I was saying before, though. But they fluff him up so high, and really in the playoffs he's a loser.
Yeah, that's strong words from the Grand Schwabini. But look, when you don't win the game, you lose.
Big time loser. Not small loser, big time loser. Like going in as a number 1 seed and losing in the first round, or losing in like a championship game at home.
Right.
And looking really bad doing it too.
Yep. Here's an interesting thing. I want to switch. Look, Grand Schwabini, I don't think you're going to get anybody, at least on this side of the aisle, who disagrees. Yeah.
7.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't even know what the hell.
Got it in there. I just had to get it in there.
I don't even know why. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea. Feel the Steel says, "Oh, not me. I'm done with the Teflon Don. Yeah, fire Tomlin always." It's Herpy, not the 67. See, he's on my side. Not the 67. What is 67?
Just don't. Why do you go there? Just don't even go there. Let's stick with the real stuff.
Football. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, I don't even know where I was going to go after that stupid 60. You've cursed us grand next week, says Derpy. Listen, here's what I'm going to do while I try to think about what to say next. I'm going to tell you that we are grateful you're here watching the Sports Black and Gold on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. Our Facebook page is starting to grow. It's doubled in size in the last couple of weeks. Our YouTube page, we're getting upwards. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as we can. People that really enjoy watching it. X, as always, if you're here, thank you. Click that follow or subscribe button. That's how you can support us. We've been friends for 35 years, watching football together, arguing about it. We decided to start this podcast and this show 7-8 years ago, pre-pandemic. We've been lucky enough to be together ever since. We got some great fans that follow us around everywhere. We want you to be part of that family. So jump on board and let's have some fun. I don't know about you guys, but other than short little clips, which we do put out on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, by the way, and YouTube, I can't stand the national media shows anymore. Not to jump on them all, but they have so much they have to cover that you don't really get that, like let's sit down with a bunch of fans and just have a debate, which is what guys like us like to do. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you being here. Out to win 7. Click subscribe, buddy. When the opportunity goes back to the offense, you have to close out the game. Play to win. Don't make a sweat. Huge W.
Right on.
Agree. Absolutely. I'm a Steelers fan, gentlemen, says Derpy. Awesome. Been since Maddox, before Ben. It just happened to fall into place when I was younger. Good for you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the family.
To be that young. To be that young.
Yeah.
That happened to me too, Derpy, only his name was Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah. Well, and I still remember the college days in the late 80s, early 90s, and the Bubby Brister screams.
Oh, boy.
And Grant Schwabini remembers that as well, don't you, Grant Schwabini?
Slash.
Yeah, there you go. Slash as well. Steelers offense gets the ball back to end the game, and Smith can't finish the game. Well, he didn't have to. Thank God. The defense did that with a sack. They did have some splash plays in this game that helped. And overall, I would grade this win. Let's give a grade before we hop off, and I remind everybody to grab us tomorrow night. I would grade this game as a win. I would grade it a B+ because it was an absolute, and I know you can argue through wins and losses, division record, that it wasn't a must win, but for this Steelers season, the psychology of that team, that locker room, the fan base, as well as your record in the AFC North and the AFC, this was a must-win football game, and they did everything they needed to do to win the game. They did not make a whole lot of mistakes, and they won. So I give it a B+. How about you, Grant Schwabini?
Well, does the W get a 1 in the win column?
Yeah.
Then I'll call it an A+.
There you go. Excellent. HJ?
Yeah, I'm not going to go A+ because they didn't shine in every aspect of the game, but I'm absolutely giving it an A because the stakes were so high. You go from either 63% chance of making the playoffs or 13% chance of making the playoffs, and right now you stand at 63. I don't think you can give it anything but an A when it comes to that. On top of that, the Bengals lose, so they've got definitely some distance on the Bengals. They're pretty much, the Browns are completely out of it for sure now, with a loss at the Tennessee. So not only us winning, everybody else losing. It's just a good week for the Steelers.
Is there any concern at all about Shedeur Sanders playing against the Steelers this year?
No, because he's a good player. He's probably one of their better quarterbacks in recent years, not named Baker. But they haven't really, they've only won once with him. They just lost to the Tennessee Titans at home. So no.
Yeah. And we could go into this tomorrow night in our show. Because I think there's, what we can do is now we'll have heard the press conferences. We'll have heard the media comments. We'll have heard some fans complain about Tomlin again, or say that he's the second coming again. And we'll have our reactions, all of our predictions tomorrow night. And we can talk about this. Pat off track. I just got to get him into the show. F it was fun. Be good with Chuck at Kelly's. That was last night, Pat Off Track. Where were you? Where were you?
We were good with Chuck last night.
We were good with Chuck. We had a wonderful night with Chuck, actually. It was probably the most innocent hour and a half I spent at a bar with Hockey Jesus and Mr. Openlander in a long time. We actually just left the bar and everybody went home. And for those of you who know me, I drank club soda. So, that's what I did.
Nobody lost any teeth.
Nobody lost any teeth. Okay, out to win. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you did, thank you. For Ravens fans, squeeze the ball and complete the process of the catch. Don't leave it up to a slow motion replay decision. Great show, guys. Thanks so much. Feel the Steel, out to win. Loves your comments. Listen, guys, thanks for subscribing. Thanks a lot for being here on the Steelers postgame show. I'm going to remind you that we are coming to you from... I hit the music a little loud there. I hope that my voice catches up with it. Anyway, we are coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We're going to be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Every Monday night, we do our full black and gold show, Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, a couple other things we have fun with. For the Grand Schwabini over here, for Hockey Jesus down there, who will be on again later today on a Hockey Jesus after the Pens game. So if you're a Pens fan, tune in live here after the Pens game. Who are they playing? I can't remember. Dallas.
They're playing at Dallas. That's right.
Yes. So tune in after that game. All right. Again, for the Grand Schwabini, for Hockey Jesus, I'm your technical director. Thanks for being here, guys. Love you. We are out.